So today I wanted to start a vlog because I need some very serious help getting me out of a reading slump. So I have been very much struggling in the last, I would say maybe the last week to really, I have picked up probably 4 or 5 different books and I have not finished a single one of them, and I'm really struggling to be it's like I'm in the mood for everything and nothing all at the same time. And every time I pick up a new book, I read 10, 15, 20%. One of them I literally read almost half of the book. One is almost finished, and I literally have no motivation to continue reading. I have also, as you can see on my TV, have been watching all of the book besties on YouTube. I've literally been watching Sarah Crowley and Haley Pham and Rachel Catherine and Destiny Sidwell. I've been watching all the girls, all my favorite YouTube girlies, and I'm trying so hard to get back in the mood to read something, and I'm really on the struggle bus. And so I was like, let's start a video. Let's talk it out, talk about the books that I've started and the books that I have somewhat felt in the mood for. Maybe I'll pick one and start reading, and we'll see if I can get myself out of this reading slump. So I was gonna start by saying I have recently gotten a few book of the month books that I haven't talked much about on the channel because I haven't updated you guys on my recent book of the month picks. And so my last complete read was a book of the month book from May. And it was The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This book, honestly, this book is to blame for the reading slump, if we're gonna be honest, because I loved this book. I loved every second of this book. I ate this book up. I literally read it. I read 80% of it in one evening and could not put it down. I read till way later than I typically stay up. I don't even know what time, but way later than I usually stay up because I could not put this down. I thought it was so cute. The tropes, adorable. It was so cute. It was everything I was wanting, and I just loved it. I ate it up. I don't know if it was actually that good or if it was just the right place, right time type of thing, but I loved it. And the second I put this book down, I was like, what is gonna fill this void? What book, what new family, what new characters are gonna make me feel the way that this book made me feel? And I have not found it yet. Literally have not found it. So I started off with this book. This was May's book of the month book. And I have a couple more. I can't really remember when I got all these. But this was this month's pick. And it was Mother Like Daughter. This was my April? Don't know where that came from. This was my August pick for this month, and honestly it sounds so good. I'm very excited to get into it. I just wasn't really particularly feeling in the mood right now, but the problem is I don't really know what I'm in the mood for because I've picked up so many different books and I can't stick with any of them, so clearly I don't even know what I want. I literally have no clue what I want. So Mother Like Daughter seems really good. This one was about a woman that goes missing, and I think the storyline is told from her daughter, her daughter's perspective, and as the daughter's trying to figure out what happened with the mom and what's going on and stuff, she's starting to figure out some really interesting things about her mom that she never knew. and it basically, she goes down this deep rabbit hole of things about her mom's past that she had no clue about as she tries to find her mom. I think that this has a non-linear timeline, so it jumps back and forth between the present where the mom is missing and the daughter's trying to find her, and the past where it's like basically revealing all of the mom's like history through telling the story from the past, which honestly I could definitely get into it. So who even knows? I'm just gonna be talking about books right now, and we'll see what I end up picking up, because I literally don't even know myself. I literally don't know. Next, I already talked about this one on the channel in my last video. At the very end of my video, I kind of like popped on and said that I was reading something and I was really liking it, and that is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. This book, I was loving it. I was loving it. I was feeling it. I was eating up the whole beginning, and at about 50%, I really started to lose interest and start feeling like, why am I reading this? Like, what do I even have an interest in what's about to happen? Again, if you did not see the last video, I will talk about this for a little bit. This book is about basically a reality TV show similar to Love Island. It's this new TV show. It's never been aired before, and they're trying to find people that are willing, like couples that are willing to go on this TV show. It's off on some like new island. People have never even stayed on this island before, and they just need like people to come be part of this reality TV show. The main character has no interest in being on the TV show, but her boyfriend is an actor and he's really trying to make a name for himself, and so he basically like begs her to come on this show with him and like help him out make a name for himself, because it has to be couples that go on the show. And basically he like entices her by saying that you can like basically try to get yourself off of the show as soon as possible by like losing the competitions or whatever. And then as they're there, none of this is a spoiler, this is just the synopsis. As they get there, something goes wrong and it becomes very dangerous, very deadly, and like nobody's responding to their calls and stuff. And so it's a non-linear timeline. It jumps back and forth between the present, which is them stranded on the island, and the past, which was them getting to the island and the whole TV show thing. So the beginning was very interesting. I loved the non-linear timeline. I loved that it was jumping from them being on the island and then like stranded on the island, and then jumping back in time and showing you kind of how they got there. But about, I would even say maybe like 60 to 70%, like I'm a good way through this book. I am almost to the end, and I honestly don't care anymore. I literally don't care. Like I don't really care what happens to the characters and or like how they got stranded, what's going on. Like I completely have lost interest. Now, I don't know if that's a me problem or this book problem, because I was really interested and I was loving it and I was like eating it up. I loved it until all of a sudden I wasn't. And so I'm like, is this because I have kind of fallen into a reading slump, or did this book actually put me into a reading slump? I honestly have no clue. So if anybody has read this book and finished it or didn't finish it, comment down below like what you guys thought of it, because I'm honestly dying to know, because I'm really struggling here. Like I don't know if it's my fault or the book's fault, but I'm also thinking it could very well just be a me problem, because I have clearly tried to get into other books and I cannot figure out what I want to read right now. So with that, we will move on to my last and final book that I got from Book of the Month recently, and that is The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I have not read a Catherine Center book before, but I have heard she has been raved about by many of the people that I am friends with on like all the social medias, Instagram, YouTubers, Goodreads, like everybody who reads Catherine Center books really like her books, but I've just never jumped into one. I have a few. This is not the first Catherine Center that I've bought, but this one's the one that I'm the most excited for. I don't know if it's because the cover of this one entices me the most, or if it's because this is the newest one, or if it's genuinely just that this story like draws my interest the most. This story, I have to think about this one for a second. Oh yeah, this story is basically a story of the main character is the female, I don't remember her name, Emma, and Emma and Charlie are the two main characters. Charlie is like a screenwriter or something like that, and she's being hired to like rewrite his love story, but she's kind of giving up on love herself, and so basically she has to rewrite this love story when she doesn't even know if she believes in love herself. That's the most general plot that I can give, because I honestly don't know any more about this book, and that honestly could have even been wrong, but I'm almost positive that that's what this book is about. But I haven't read this yet, and I pretty much just read the synopsis on Book of the Month and was like, okay, I think I need to get that book, because it's just so cute. Like, look at this cover. That is adorable. And I feel like Book of the Month is kind of stepping up their game on their covers, because their covers are now like, they used to just be like all one, like the same like shiny material finish. And they are starting to like make matte covers. I don't know if you can tell, but this cover, all of this is matte, and then the words are like that shiny print. And I feel like even just that has like I feel like this book feels more quality. I don't know why that is, but I do feel like Book of the Month is kind of stepping up their game, and I'm very pleased by Book of the Month recently. I feel like their book picks have been great, and the books that I've been getting I've been really happy with. So I have really been loving Book of the Month. So yes, that is all of the recent books that I got from Book of the Month recently. Obviously, I do need to decide. It doesn't need to be now. Like, I have no problem soft DNFing a book where I say I'm just not going to finish this for now, but I plan one day to pick it back up. Even if that's like, oh, I'm just going to read one book in between and then I'll pick this back up. But I just feel like I just don't know. I just do not know how I'm feeling. I really liked it in the beginning, and I've read a Ruth Ware book before, and I have really enjoyed her books. So I'm like, I don't know. I literally do not know what's going on, but I think it's a me problem, because I started Summer Island by Kristen Hanna. This is an older Kristen Hanna book. I picked this up at a used bookstore, and this book is quite used. This thing is like cracked like crazy. It's a very, very loved copy of this book, but I love Kristen Hanna. I don't know if I've really talked about her. I know I have given some like recaps before from books that I've read by her, but I've read The Women, The Four Winds, The Great Alone, Firefly Lane. I've definitely read more, and I can't think of them. Oh, True Colors. I've read many of Kristen Hanna's books before. Crazy enough, I have not read The Nightingale yet. And The Nightingale is like the book that even non-Kristen Hanna fans have read, and I still have not read it. But I feel like I really like just have to be in the right mood to pick up that book, and I don't want to ruin that book by not being in that mood for it, if that makes sense. But anyways, I picked up Summer Island, and I got quite a bit into this book. I'm at chapter 11, literally 183 pages in. okay? This is a 392 page book. So I'm literally like almost halfway through this book. And tell me why I lost interest. And I feel like it was kind of barely holding my interest in the beginning anyways. And so I kind of got halfway and I got really bored. And I could tell that I was literally reading it just to get through it. And I hate reading a book just to get through it. I hate that. It ruins the point of reading for me. It's like, why even read the book if you're literally just reading it to mark it read? Like, then you clearly didn't enjoy the book. I don't know. I just hate that. I hate that feeling. So yeah, this one is actually really good. And for all of the people who have read Firefly Lane, this book is not part of the Firefly Lane like book series or whatever, but it is very reminiscent. Like, it reminds me very much. It's like mother-daughter issues. It's the mom is like a famous talk show host, and the daughter's a comedian, and the daughter's really struggling as a comedian, and the mom's like a very, very famous talk show host, but like because of something that went down in their past, she doesn't want to like lean on her mom for money or fame or anything like that. She's trying to make a name for herself. And then when something happens with her mom, basically they're forced together and they have to spend time together and kind of rehash parts of their past. It's, for any of you who have read Firefly Lane, that synopsis alone like should give, it just gives like the same energy. They're not the same story, but they give like that same vibe. So if you read Firefly Lane and you were like, what book is going to be similar to that, I would say definitely try picking up Summer Island and just see. This is clearly very similar. This is just so, it's so annoying. Like, I literally hate being in a reading slump because I was enjoying it to an extent, but I could definitely tell that I was starting to just read it just to get through it. And I feel like maybe even just talking some of these books through is going to help me want to like dive back into them and finish them out. So I don't know. We will see what happens. But on to the next book that I've started and not finished. Now, this one I started a while ago, and I decided that I wasn't in the mood for this genre, but also you'll see why. It is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This book is massive. Look at this thing. That is a massive book. I don't even know the page count on this thing. Looks like almost 700 pages. This is like a very, very hefty book. And I started it like literally a few chapters in and realized very quickly that I was not in a fantasy mood. And so I immediately put it down because I have heard such amazing reviews for this book. Pretty much every person I know or have heard of that have finished this book have only said good things about this book. So that is like very high praise to me. And I feel like that's like a big deal. Sorry guys, my light died, so I had to readjust. But anyways, so this book has had very, very, very high praises. I've only heard really, really good things from this book. And so to pick it up and be a few chapters in and basically know immediately that I was not feeling it, I really was not connecting. Like, I wasn't feeling that connection with the characters yet. And I was just feeling like I could feel myself. Like, I even had the audiobook going because most of the time listening to an audiobook will really help me like dive into the book and feel immersed and feel part of the story. And I felt like even with the audiobook, I was really struggling. I was just like starting to tune it out, and it was just going in one ear and out the other. So I put this one down pretty much immediately. I know very, 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 very little about this book. I still honestly have like no clue what it's about. And I think that that's pretty much for the best in this case scenario. I feel like with general fiction or literary fiction or romance, like that, I'm more of like a mood reader specifically for each book. Like I'm like, oh, I kind of want this type of book or this type of trope. And sometimes with fantasy, like I just need to pick it up and just start it. And then once I get into the beginning, I'm like in, and I cannot put it down. And then I'm like, oh, that was a good choice. So I feel like this one, I'm gonna continue to put her on the back burner and say that this is just not for now, but hopefully very, very soon. I really, really do want to get to this book soon, sooner rather than later, for sure. But anyways, then the next book, this is actually technically the last book that I've actually picked up and started and did not finish. And that would be The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So this is a sports romance. It is a it's a series, so there's many books in this series, and they're all sports themed romances, and they're all like different sports based on the main guy character who's in the book. So this first one is a hockey romance, and it was very cute. I picked this up the other night. I literally picked up my Kindle and I was like, I'm just gonna literally select a random book on my Kindle and just start it and just see what happens, because at this point I'm getting desperate and I just want to like feel something. And so I picked this up, I started reading, and it is very much a slow burn because it's kind of giving, like, it's not like, I hate saying enemies to lovers because it's like, I don't know, they're not like enemies. That's such a random word to like classify normal people. Like I would never just be like, oh, this guy, he's my enemy in real life. You know, that's just weird. But they're not particularly rivals either. It's just like, she just does not like him. Like I guess, I don't know, enemies to lovers. But she thinks that this guy's really annoying. He's really full of himself. All the girls want him. So of course she doesn't want him. Which that very quickly changes, but I feel like I can see where this is going. It's very predictable, which in some cases I love, and in others I get really annoyed by it, and I'm like, why am I still reading this when I can pretty much foresee how this whole thing's gonna play out? But I don't know. This is another one, guys. I don't know what's going on. This is exactly why I need help. I need somebody to help me figure out what in the world I need to read to get me out of this terrible reading slump, because this is awful. I feel like I'm like flying through books like faster than I'm like running out of TBR books, which you guys know that never really happens, but I just don't know. So I am 23% through The Deal, and I'm feeling very unsure on if this is what I want to continue reading right now. I have no clue. I don't even know what I want to read. I'm literally so lost. So I'm just gonna end up picking up either one of these books I've already started, or finding a book off of my shelves that has piqued my interest recently. Something not like something, this is not the time for a book that's been on my TBR for like years. So, I don't know. Or I've also been thinking I am a huge rereader, and I don't know, maybe it's time to just dive back into like a Good and Faithful, one of my absolute favorite books. Of course, this is what I always go back to. I was already thinking about possibly rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses, or Throne of Glass, but I feel like those are such heavy fantasy, especially Throne of Glass is like such a heavy fantasy book. And I already started my reread of Throne of Glass for the year, and I'm on Queen of Shadows, which is like, we're like 4 books into the series. It is getting really intense. Some crazy stuff is happening, and I'm just like, I'm not ready to just pick up Queen of Shadows for fun. So that's why I'm kind of lost. I also thought I'm kind of like, I could reread like an Emily Henry. Don't know how I'm feeling about that. I've read all of Emily Henry's so far. So People We Meet on Vacation, Beach Read, Happy Place, Book Lovers, and Funny Story. And for some reason I rated Happy Place only like a 3-star, and I remember liking it more than a 3-star now. Like, I definitely thought that I would have rated it like at least a 4-star or like a 4.5. And I just went back on Goodreads yesterday and I saw that I rated it a 3-star. And I was like, I have no clue why I put a 3-star, because I, of course, didn't write anything or say anything. So I'm like, maybe I should give Happy Place a reread, because I'm kind of feeling that like nostalgic, like I really want to go back and like I think I want comfort characters right now. Like I want people that I've read before. I want characters that I know and love, and that when I like jump back in the book, I want that feeling of like, I feel like I'm home, if that makes sense. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll see. We're just gonna end up picking something and sitting down and reading, and we'll see what happens. So I guess you guys will see. Literally, Win and Harriet, why, first of all, I have so many questions for my past self. Why, let me just say, I'm only 3 chapters. I'm literally at chapter 3. I've been loving it so far, and tell me why my past self really gave this book a 3 stars when I literally am like starting this book right now. I'm like, this is exactly what I meant by like, sometimes you just like know deep down inside what you need, and like, I don't know why I was like telling myself like, you don't need a reread, you don't need. And I was like really feeling an Emily Henry, and I was like, no, you just don't need that. Like you've literally read all of the Emily Henrys that, at least that I have. I know she has a couple more, but like for the most part, these are like her most popular books. I've read all of them, and so I'm like, yeah, guys, this was the move. This was the move. I cannot stop. And also, I'm on Spotify, and I'm listening to Happy Place by Emily Henry. Like, it's a playlist made by somebody, and it's totally 100% giving the vibes. It's giving exactly what I was wanting, and I'm absolutely loving it. I decided to start annotating this time around because, okay. So I reread Beach Read last year, and I annotated the whole thing, and I loved it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna add tabs or not. I do have tabs, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna add them because sometimes they really bother me on the edges of the book. So I'm not really sure, but I am annotating as I go, and I'm having a blast and I'm loving every second of it. So I made it a good amount through. I made it about 100 pages in, just over 100 pages. I am on chapter 11. This was definitely the move. First of all, I'm so far loving every second of it. I forgot how much I loved Harriet and Wynne, and I love the vibes of this. The story takes place in Maine on basically this beach house. It's kind of like a big group of old friends getting back together for one last big hooray. It's just really, really good. It goes back and forth in timeline between the past of the past times of them coming to this house and spending summers together, and then the present. It's definitely really good. I'm very much enjoying it, and that is pretty much where I'm going to pause for the night, and I will update you guys tomorrow if I read any more. Okay guys, so brief update on Happy Place. Good morning, by the way. Brief update on Happy Place. I am 130 pages in, so I'm almost to chapter 13. So I've only been reading for a little bit because I left off last night at around 100 pages. So I basically just wanted to jump on here to say that I forgot to update you guys last night that I got to a point in the book where it referenced past characters. So it referenced Gus and January from Beach Read. And I love Beach Read. Beach Read was my favorite. I don't know that I still feel this way, but for a little while, Beach Read was my favorite Emily Henry. And so that just added to the feeling of nostalgia and the feeling of the comfort characters and just the homey feeling that I'm feeling with this book right now. I don't know. This is just I'm loving it, guys. I'm literally eating this up. I'm I'm just loving it. That's literally all I can say is I'm having such a good time. I'm so happy that I ended up picking this book and just deciding to do a reread really randomly. I also am thinking sometimes what happens is my rating for a book is affected by whether or not I was in the mood for that book when I picked it up. And so sometimes what happens is I will pick up a new release because it just came out and I've been anticipating this book for however long. And then I end up rating it a little bit lower because I wasn't particularly in the mood for that exact book, but I read it because it was new. And I do know that I got this book right when it came out, and I read it pretty much right away. And at the time, this released right around the time that me and my husband got married. And so I actually took this book on my honeymoon. And I feel so now I'm feeling a lot of nostalgia for this book and for this story. And it might even become my favorite Emily Henry. But at the time I was very stressed, and I was really struggling to be in the mood for any book, let alone I don't know. I was just really, really struggling at the time with reading specifically because I had just come off the high of our wedding and everything that was going on at that time. I had a lot going on. And so I just feel like I unfairly judged this book when I read it the first time. And a 3-star is not bad, but this is definitely more than a 3-star to me. Like, as I'm reading it again, I'm like, this is not a 3-star to me. This is definitely higher than a 3-star. So, yeah, I'm going to keep reading and I will keep you guys updated. I'm going to try not to stop so much and update you guys, but I will update you guys when I finish the book for sure. But yeah. I'm like speechless. I'm literally speechless. Why in the world did I rate this a 3-star the first time I read it? I do not understand. Okay, if you guys, this is not a spoiler, but I'm going to read a part of the book. And if you don't want to know anything about it, then you can skip ahead in the video. But, it's just a conversation between two of the friends. And if you guys like found family books, this is literally just like, it's basically one of the friends is talking about how after her parents were divorced, like she never felt wanted or like she never had anything that belonged to her. Nothing ever felt permanent anymore. Obviously she like moved back and forth between houses and stuff. And she says, nothing belonged to me like this place, which is the house that they've been visiting. And it says her voice pitches higher, until I met you two. She's always been so tough, and it breaks something in me to hear the vulnerability in her voice. I met you, she says, and I finally belonged somewhere again. There's just something so, there's something about found family where like a book is about more than just, like this is about so much more than just a relationship between like two people, like a romantic relationship between two people. This is a story of like friendship and found family and love, and it is just so, she like did this so beautifully, talking about basically childhood trauma, not even like just in the sense of like never feeling wanted or never like issues that they have had in their families, and how like finding people who have loved them no matter what is like just, it's just so beautiful. Guys, this book, this was so good. If you have not yet read Happy Place, please pick this up, and please pick it up in the right timing, because oh my goodness, this book was so good. And if you did read it and you didn't love it, that's okay, because everybody's opinions are their own, and I'm not saying that you had to love it, but I would also say possibly think about giving it a second chance, because the first time I read it, I was like, that was just okay. And this time I'm like, possible new favorite Emily Henry right here. Like this is, oh, guys, I cannot. That was the perfect book to get me out of a reading slump. And I am so happy that I brought you guys along with me and that I videoed this, because yeah, that was such a wonderful book and so rewarding, and I loved every second of that. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me if you like this type of reading vlog, because I do like doing this type of reading vlog. So if you enjoyed it, let me know and I can keep making more videos like this. But I will see you guys next time.